Alright guys, got our first and very probably only series of the day. It's Halloween, so I'm headed off to do other stuff in a few. But in the meantime, figured get a quick cast in. Doesn't seem like I've got too many people super interested in co-casting today. A little too bad, but oh well. I'm still here for you guys. You know I love you. And we'll be taking on TZP versus RatingBefoDating. And losers back at round 3, which is a little bit ahead of probably where we should be, but thanks to some replays that can't be downloaded, we weren't able to quite finish off the losers back at round 2 yet. And there's still one round of 8 match as well that we're waiting on a replay for. So when I have those matches, I will cast them, and until then, I can move along with games that have actually been played and I have the replays for. Always nice. This time it is TZP versus RatingBefoDating. TZP, a little bit of a new team in this gold division. Obviously they've been around for a while, but picking up Cat Lomain and Count Crapula have proven to be strong additions. They did fairly well going up to this point. They won their they lost their round of 16 match. What? I thought they won it. No, they played Solar Club and they lost. Oh well. Then they beat Team TangZangPang, and then they beat Not Excellent in the losers back round 2 to get here. RatingBefoDating actually won their round of 16 matchup, a team that came in from silver. They took off Frog No Hippo 2-0 before losing to Teletubbies 2-1. So they've shown some pretty good stuff so far. As Teletubbies also has had a very good gold cycle for so far, and we'll see what both of these teams can bring to the table. I've been rather impressed with RatingBefoDating so far, and at this point I would expect a little bit more from TZP just because they're a bit of a better known name, but wouldn't surprise me at all if R8D8 came out on top in this series. We are well into the picking and banning stage, of course, as I like to let it go for a little bit when I solo cast. It gives me a little bit of time to catch up on stuff, have things happen so that I can talk about them since I don't have somebody else to talk about stuff with, and then get endlessly sidetracked. So played at Madman, going to be the first 2 bans to the Legion side, Tempest and Cthulhuphant for the Hellborn team. And nothing particularly crazy about that Madman. Not a typical ban we see off the bat, but an annoying hero to deal with, and perhaps Ganal just not feeling like he really wants to contend with that Madman. So perfectly fine to take him out of the pool. Legion's first 3 picks will be Rhapsody, Kraken, and Ophelia, so going for a pretty strong push presence at this point with Rhapsody and Ophelia. Kraken can add some teamfight potential, as well as Rhapsody, with their ultimates. So at this point, going to be a bit hard to stop the TZP train if it gets rolling. But the Hellborn have heroes that will definitely be able to counter it. And Warbeast, their 4th pick actually in Legion side, again going to complement the push. And will presumably be a Suicide Warbeast. So we're really looking at a mid-Kraken and a dual lane bottom for a hard carry with Rhapsody support. Could definitely be Kraken Rhapsody middle as well, although I don't like that quite as much. Hellborn team, meanwhile, have gone Magmus, Parasite, and Silhouette as their first 3 picks, and obviously all very strong heroes. Magmus will have excellent presence as both a ganker and a teamfight hero. Parasite, obviously, with the gank presence, can be able to pick off opposing heroes very easily, but not too much teamfight damage. And, no group casting. Silhouette, of course, will lend themselves some hard carry presence, so going the jungle route, haven't picked up a support quite yet. And the Legion side picked up on that as they banned out Glacius, Empath, and Pharaoh. And Master of Arms is going to be their choice as they're trying to stop the push. So, not a huge surprise there. We saw Moa yesterday, in fact, and he did a pretty good job at stopping the push eventually in Catman Champion's hands. So, see if he can perform similarly today. Again, not a huge fan of that hero in general, but I definitely like him a lot more in the support role as opposed to being a carry. So we'll see how he does. As I said, Glacius, Empath, and Pharaoh, the first 3 bans for the Legion side. Glacius and Empath obviously getting taken out, and both of those are good support options for the Hellborn side. They will not be available, especially to counter that Ophelia on Glacius's part. Pharaoh, just a suicide option. Presumably they're not going to be looking to run Magmus in that suicide role, as he's a better suited mid, I think. Although still a strong suicide hero. Regardless, he will almost certainly be played in the middle lane, and Polywog give me the last pick for Legion side. We'll get to that in a second, but Ravener, Dodge Repulsor, and Puppet Master the bans for the Hellborn team, again targeting the short lane, realizing Legion team does not have particularly great short lane presence, and instead will choose to focus that. But the Polywog, last pick, definitely lends itself to the idea that we'll be a short lane solo polywog, so probably Rhapsody and Kraken in the middle lane with the Suicide War Beast. Count Crapula notably on the War Beast, and he is their carry player, as he was in Ogre. So I wonder if this is actually going to be a short lane War Beast, and maybe a Suicide Kraken. YOLO Train is their Suicide player, I believe. Rankbridge Ace is their support, right? Interesting. Is this going to be a farming Rhapsody? Huh. Anyway, Halberd pick up bubbles with the last pick, so try to push as much as they can, and the push did get a lot stronger with those last 2 picks in the Legion team, so they're looking to take down a lot of towers and do it very, very early. I'm like 98% sure that Runkabage is their support player. So I don't know if this is a farming Rhapsody. Am I crazy? Apparently I'm crazy. Rhapsody definitely buying support items, so I might just be totally insane and completely misremembering things. Yeah, definitely Polywog gonna be the farming role here. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I don't know what's going on because this is not what usually goes on, or if something actually is changed and I just don't understand. But anyway, regardless of what's happening, it's pretty easy, or what should be happening or whatever, it's pretty easy to see what is happening, which is we'll be sort of headed toward mid, actually. A little bit odd. Count Crapula again, usually not their Suicide player, it usually is YOLO Train, and going to be a short lane solo polywog, definitely. But it looks like Count Crapula going to be playing the Suicide War Beast, which is probably not something he's super used to, but at the meantime, shouldn't be a bad time for him. Should be just fine. And we'll see. Hellborn trying to get some stuff out in the Legion Woods, but they won't be able to find anybody. And Pause is going through all the time, but again, doesn't matter. And skip straight through him. So, yep, going to be the mid lane, Kraken and Rhapsody lane. In top, is it going to be a Suicide War Beast? And he's just sort of not sure what he's doing here. Tips into the well for a second to get some mana back. But he looks like he might be late to the lane. He did get a successful pull off, so he's not actually going to be late to lane because he's going to pull up behind the tower. And his wolf will meet him right here. Should be pretty easy to deal with. It's dying right there, but now he should have some pretty nice farm in this lane. Count Crapula obviously getting a pretty impressive pull-off, actually, in the end. And mid lane, it's going to be the Magnus and the Master of Arms, so 2v2. And there. Interesting. Looks like my channel's been offline, but apparently it's not. I was confused.
It only hurts the first time.
Oh, I'm just missing stuff because I'm not paying attention, and Reno in the bottom lane actually going to die here. Let's see how that happened. I don't know. Seriously?
It only hurts the first time.
Seriously? Seriously? Apparently Narcy's done. But yeah, anyway, as far as this game goes, I'm sorry, I sort of got mildly distracted there for a second. But anyway, middle lane I was talking about before, there was Bloods in the bottom, it's going to be Kraken and Rhapsody versus Magnus and Master Arms. I would expect Kraken and Rhapsody to be at a disadvantage in this lane, just because Magnus is such a great initiator with his stun, and obviously the follow-up from Moa is going to be pretty difficult to deal with, so I would imagine Magnus will have a very good time. Currently sitting at 247 gold per minute, compared to Kraken at 250 GPM, so Kraken actually winning And again, for reasons that I don't fully understand, because it feels like it shouldn't be the case, but oh well. And middle, they will jump, as my camera work is awful, because again, I'm getting distracted. I should just be playing to the game. Alright, no more distractions, just paying attention to the game. Health bot gets picked up there by Magmus, shared from Rhapsody. DD Rune actually had Rap doing a lot of damage to that Master of Arms, but Magmus will be okay. Has his bottle, able to pot up, no problem. And as I was saying, this middle lane looks like Magmus is finally starting to take a bit of an edge, as he should. Kraken dropping down to about 240, 250 GPM compared to 300 or so for Magmus. Top lane Warbeast gonna be in a lot of trouble. He will die as he just gets caught out. Obviously a bit of an issue. Middle lane, they managed to kill a Magmus somehow. Gets locked down with the stun and charge into the cliff. Splash auto attack does so much. He doesn't go over the cliff, and he dies as a result. Master of Arms is going to be okay. Yeah, he'll be just fine. Obviously the Warbeast doing a lot to help his teammates out with that Howl. Bottom lane Polywog versus Bubbles. Bubbles only at 157 gold per minute, and Polywog at 360, which is shocking. Bubbles should absolutely dominate this lane, I feel like. He's got much better burst magical damage. Polywog Priest really needs an ally to help him set up stuff here. I guess the Warbeast Howl is also helping him. It's got 80 to 87 damage. You compare that to Bubbles with 55 to 60, so Polywog Priest hitting nearly 50% harder. And that's definitely going to make a pretty significant difference. So, despite the death in the top lane, Count Crapula still farming decently well, 235 gold per minute, obviously helping his team out a lot with those Howls. He's at 350 experience per minute as well, currently level 5. Keeping up with Silhouette in terms of the levels, always good. And he will be able to get a couple of CS off this wave as well. Wolves helping him out. Wolves. It's wolves. Anyway, Magmus will take some staccatos, but he will be fine. And perhaps he's going to take a health pot in the middle, or mana pot in the middle, excuse me. But at this point, haven't seen too much action from Ophelia. Obviously, she did gank and got the Bloodlust with the Vagabond leader, which was, again, surprising. I'm kind of surprised that Ophelia is managing to get a kill on the Bubbles. It's 1v1 with a Vagabond leader, not even a stunning creep, but whatever. Rainwa is not playing the best, Renoa. I don't know how to pronounce that. But a player we've seen before as well. He's been around the competitive scene, at least on the periphery, at least for a little bit. And middle lane, it looks like Magmus is gonna live just barely. Had about 5 health there. Gets the charge, but he lava surges over the cliff. He doesn't stop on the dance floor, and as a result, he doesn't take the death. Parasite is in a Minotaur. I haven't talked about him at all, and we're going to see who they actually go for. Looks like Magmus are actually going to turn on. Rhapsody now might be in some trouble, or she might not. Looking for the Minotaur stomp. Are they going to be able to get it? Yes, they will. There's a stun. Looking for the leech from Parasite as well, and last auto attack from Master Rum finishes her off. So it ends up being a 1-for-1, but not what they were looking for at all. In the bottom lane, actually, speaking of Ophelia ganks, she does come in. Minotaur stomp there after the take cover, and the hold from Polywog Priest. Easy finish. As the Shell Surf, not enough. So, that's obviously the difficulty with Bubbles, is if you get locked down by that Polywog tongue, then you're probably going to die. So, right off the bat here, Legion side taking a pretty substantial lead, about 2k gold and 1k experience at 6 minutes in. That's nothing to be ashamed of by any means. Kraken bottle up a refreshment room there, and an Invis is hanging out in the bottom. It's a ghost. Bottom lane, we'll see what they go for. Bubbles gonna shell surf away, will be just fine. And the Torrent gonna come through here though as well. Kraken really wants to pursue this. He doesn't have an ultimate though. And we'll see if they can actually chase him down. He actually hits level 6. Can he get enough mana to drop the ultimate? It doesn't look like it. He's trying to use the bottle, and he will be able to help finish it up. Master of Arms gonna put the charge onto Polywog Priest. Now actually release Kraken right on Master of Arms' face. And this could very possibly be another kill. But Kraken not positioning himself all that well. Now Moa trying to run away. Obviously the Kraken ultimate sort of missed. And he's going to have to take a mana pot and a health pot trying to evade as Magnus is heading over, but eventually realizing they're not going to kill him, so Kraken is just going to hide, use the mana pot and the health pot, and he will be fine. So nice play actually there from Yellow Train as he manages to finish off the bubbles, or at least help, and also avoid death. Nearly killed the Master of Arms as well. Too bad for him, he could not. And top lane, Cal Crapula. We haven't looked at him too much, but 267 GPM. Haven't looked at Silhouette too much either. But she's at 284 gold per minute, so really not having the best time either. And she should definitely have better farm than this against a War Beast. But 8-minute rune. Actually looks like Kraken will be in some trouble. He has the rune, but it's just illusions. And even with North's Blessing, unable to survive. So, good counter kill there for the Hellborn side, help them get back in this game, and they do have to stop this, as we mentioned before, and it's pretty, or not we, but as I mentioned before, and is obscenely obvious. This is a really early to mid-game oriented Legion team. They do have War Beast for some late game potential and Kraken, so it's not like they can't take this late at all, but I think as the game goes on, the Silhouette's going to be more and more powerful, it's going to be a bigger issue, but more importantly, it's the pushing. I mean, we have Polywog wards, we've got Rhapsody Dance Floor, Ophelia creeps, minions from War Beast, and Magnus is dead. Because he's dead. But this is where I would expect the push to start coming through, and this is exactly when it's starting to come through. As defense tower here, taking a whole bunch of damage. Master Arm's going to try to slow this down a little bit, and I don't think they're going to be able to get a tower kill out of this as a result. Polywog coming over here, perhaps looking to drop the wards, but I think he'd rather get a kill on the Master of Arms. Yep, that's going to be a bigger priority. Locks him down with the tongue tie, and that's a pretty easy kill. Will Ophelia die? No, she won't. Thanks to health pot as well. Ports her creep back.
The Legion
and that's a mid-tower kill. So, Master of Arms trying to slow the heroes down. That's not going to happen. And eventually they do take that tier 1 bot. Didn't even have to use Polyward. They also took the tier 1... sorry, that was tier 1 mid. They also took the tier 1 bot. And wouldn't be surprised if they start to work on some of these even tier 2 towers or just head top. Top lane, nice deny with the War Beast minions from Count Crapula. So, well played from him. 280 gold per minute. And again, having a really nice time in this suicide roll. Just 40 GPM behind the Silhouette. And considering that was, I know it was a 1v1, sure, but had the constant presence of Parasite being a potential problem. Actually, Fort Lightning going to miss. Rhapsody going to take the North's Blessing there as well. Will she survive? Silence going to go through. Last auto attack going to finish her off. No! Astrolabe! Huge plays. The teamwork from Ophelia there, especially helping her friend out. And Polywog Ward's doing a lot of damage to bubbles here, especially will die. They do get a counter kill onto Polywog Priest. But that's going to be it, it looks like. Hellfield was also used in double damage on Kraken. They don't really want him to be fighting them at this point, I think, on the Hellborn team. They don't really want to be fighting him. Anyway. Then possibly be another tower push on bottom. Kraken is sort of getting aggressive, but really by himself doesn't have too much tower killing presence. And middle lane, Polywog looking to perhaps jump the Silhouette, push book forward. There's the Hex, and we're going to need the tongue tied as well. There it is, Rhapsody coming through, looking for the dance floor, and the staccato stuns. Electric Jolt can finish her off, so Vesha is not what he was looking for. It's a bit of a problem, but he will come back. 310 gold per minute on the Silhouette is the top farmer on this R8D8 team, and this isn't good, essentially. 400 GPM on Poly, 370 on Kraken, 350 on Ophelia, and 310 on Warbeast are all out farming everybody on the Hellborn team. So not only is this an early game oriented team, is it a push oriented team, it's going to be very difficult to stop once it gets rolling. It is now rolling. They are well ahead, and they should continue to press their advantage in my opinion. Hopefully they'll group up and start to just destroy some towers, especially in this top lane. open up the Hellborn jungle and get themselves some more map control. Speaking of which, actually, Parasite coming over here in a Minotaur, looking perhaps to kill this Warbeast. We'll get the stun out, despite the fact that he's in ulti form, but again, Warbeast is just going to be able to run away. He'll be totally fine. But anyway, map control, Word of Sight here in the top rune for the Legion team. I also have a Word of Rev down here, and another Word of Rev down there, plus a really, really aggressive Word of Sight behind the Hellborn's tier 2 tower in the bottom lane. Hellborn, meanwhile, have a lane ward for Silhouette up in the top lane, and a ward spotting out Kongor as well as the rune here in the bottom river, and a Rev down here to try to prevent lane wards from the Legion team. But the vision advantage definitely in favor of Legion, and it looks like bottom tier 2 is going to be the next object of desire. As Polywog not even going to drop his wards, they're not even necessary at this point actually. Dinosaur from Rhapsody and the Ophelia minion is going to help clean up this tier 2 tower very easily. Polywog going to protect the tier 2 here, obviously doesn't want to port right into the tier 1, but looking to defend this tower, and will be able to do so. Bubbles going back, trying to defend the base at this point. Shell Surf will help clean up these creeps, but middle lane, will they get anything? Lava Surge already used. There's the Hex, and looking for the Tongue Tie, but Parasite's here. He could lock him down. No, Steam Bath there is going to get canceled. Should be a pretty easy kill. Last auto attack from Kraken will finish off the Magmas. And it looks like that'll be the end of the push for the Hellborn side. Let's see if there's any counter push for Legion. Polywog probably wanting to wait until he hits level 11 to drop his wards. Going to be a shorter cooldown and more powerful Polywog wards. So probably worth it to hang out for at least a few seconds, hit level 11, and then go push the tower. But I would like to see him do it soon. I mean, we're at 14 minutes in, and they've taken 3 towers, including 1 tier 2, so it's not like they've done nothing. I do feel like, based on, they started pushing it at, 8.5, 9 minutes, probably should have a little bit more, especially this top tier 1 should be dead at this point. When you look at how fast they do kill towers. But there goes the group in the top lane. Kraken and Rhapsody already there. Going to have Ophelia join them, and Polywog is a little bit further behind. But this should once again be a pretty easy tower kill. And notable that Count Crapula is actually in with them for most of these fights. He is mostly farming off by himself, so he's perhaps the insurance policy. They're like, look, we have these 4 heroes, we can take towers, no problem. We don't really need you. So you go farm, we'll kill a bunch of towers, and if things start to go badly, at least you'll have a lot of experience and gold, and if things go well, then, well, that's just great. But Hellborn actually counter-pushing here, and I feel like I've been talking about TZP a lot, not a lot about R8D8, but they're managed to stay in this with their tower kills. I mean, they got in 2 tier 1s, and actually might get a pick on Kraken here. They're slowing him down pretty effectively, but damn, he is tanky. So it has a DD, last auto attack, not going to be enough. Newer's Blessing going to save his butt super hard, and now all of a sudden we'll see some counter aggression on the Silhouette. Here comes Count Crapula. There's the Electric Jolt going to finish off Veshes, and release the Kraken, looking to cut off Magmas, but he's got a pretty nice hiding spot here, but the Dance Floor going to spot him out, obviously, gives them vision, and the Hex there going to help finish him off. So ends up being a 2 for nothing as they do defend the tier 2 tower. Legion side now on an owning streak apparently. 12 to 4 and hero kills, 9k gold and 7k experience. So the early game push strat from Legion definitely working out so far, and again they do have some late game definitely on this team, especially led by that Warbeast. Going back to the GPM charts, once again things not looking too pretty for the Hellborn team, especially Magmas and Bubbles, particularly far away from their portal keys. Magmas over 1,000 gold off of his, and Bubbles potentially 1,500 plus gold off of his, but depending on what else he wants to get. Has a lot of build up at this point, and I would expect that he is just waiting for that PK as his next item. Although, to be honest, it could be a push book even. I might like that better, especially considering they have a Polywog and a Kraken on the Legion team. And I'm not sure how much Portal Key is going to do for him. They're going to be initiating onto the Hellborn, I think. They probably want counter initiation more than anything. So Bubbles may be able to do just fine with a push book and nothing else. Well, eventually a Portal Key, but for now, just a push book. Top lane Ophelia trying to push us out a little bit against the Bubbles. And Silhouette rotating over. Parasite also coming over here, but I don't think they'll be able to pick up Ophelia. I think Catelyn May is going to drop back. And that will be the case. Again, haven't seen Polywards used too much, especially not to push towers, and I'd like to see that a little more often. He does have a push book, perhaps waiting for Magmas to see if he'll push this lane forward, and no, he won't, so instead he's going to take the CS. Meanwhile, middle tower is getting pressured by Rhapsody and Kraken, so it's kind of funny that between Ophelia, Rhapsody, Kraken, and Polywog and Warbeast, it's Rhapsody and Kraken that have been doing most of the pushing, it feels like, but looks like Oph going to join them in mid, at least for now. Shell Surf will connect on the creeps, and again doing some counter push, but there's the Astrolabe and the Dance Floor going to help mitigate some of that damage onto the creeps. And this tower is going down real fast. Oph minion going to be in some trouble, will just die. And another Oph minion actually going to take over by Parasite. He's going to get locked down a little bit though, and he could be in some trouble. Stun going to go through there, release Kraken actually will catch Parasite and Warbeast in his ulti form. Port back on Kraken actually. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but a two-man kelp field will slow down this Warbeast, and he'll actually take the kelp field stun in the background. Meanwhile over here, Polywog actually manages to finish off Yarrow on that Magnus, and mid tower falls as bot tower falls as well. Now Silhouette trying to run away with a hasten, he should be just fine. Kraken unable to pursue. But Polywog wars used more to get kills than they are to get...
Good look at it, Lee.
Anyway. Silhouette taking the top tower. Not bad. And we'll see what they can get out of this. Anyway, sorry, mild interruption, so now I'm off base, but... once again, Kraken and Rhapsody leading the push. Polywog here is finally going to show up, has wards back up in about 10 seconds. So this could be the base push. As this is the last tier 2 tower going to go down in favor of the Hellborn. Hellborn are actually managing to counter push a little bit in the mid. Kraken will port back, but I'd like to see some Poly wards dropped. Like, I don't know why they're not using them constantly. Just drop on the tower, get some damage in, who cares? Instead, he will retreat back. Puzzle Box actually is the choice for Warbeast. A little interesting. But again, it does fit their push lineup, and I love Puzzle Box, man, so I have no objections whatsoever to anybody who decides that they want to buy a Puzzle Box, pretty much. Polywog going to kind of push this bottom lane. Magnus is hanging out. He does have a portal key, so does Bubbles. Parasite and Silhouette obviously here as well, so if Polywog Priest shows himself, and it looks like he will, this is a dead Poly. Eruption getting channeled, probably not necessary, but still going to go through and help them get the kill. And Runkabage will die. Oh well. Means that the last tier 1 tower on the map is going to get pushed by Silhouette, Master of Arms, and Magnus. Should be a pretty easy kill there. Master going to help clean up the creep wave for Sil, and she will grab some kills with the Death Lotus. So, last tier 1 tower going down, and Warbeast continuing to level up that puzzle box. It is level 2, I believe he just bought level 3. Yep. So level 3 puzzle box here at 21 minutes from Warbeast, and with that, he can basically kill towers entirely by himself. Like, he can kill a tier 3 tower by himself. Right now, with the right push, they could probably take all 3 tier 3 towers at the same time, which would be hilarious. Like, if you put Kraken, Rhapsody, and Ophelia in one lane, Polywog Priest in another lane, and Warbeast in another lane, I think they could kill all 3 tier 3 towers. Well, Poly only has level 2 wards, so he might need some more help. Anyway, at least Kraken going to be right on top of Bubbles' face, but he'll be able to shell serve out of it. Kelfield onto a couple. Rhapsody's basically just trying to survive at this point. It does wear off, but they do kill Bubbles, and Rhapsody will fall in the background. Warbeast in ulti form looking for something more. There goes the Polywog Priest wards. They're going to lock down the Silhouette. That's a pretty easy kill, And we'll see if they can get anything else out of the Skeleton King and Parasite running away. Torrent will slow him down a little bit. Last auto attack, not going to go through. Actually, nice stun there. Will slow down Warbeast. He's also going to get popped out of his ulti form. Ends up being just a 2-for-1 in favor of the Legion side. They also have used, excuse me, their Polywog wards, which means that they don't really want to, well, they do want to push this, apparently. Anyway, the stun going through. They're trying to clean up as many creeps as they can, but Magma's going to get jumped back with a charge, and he's dead. And this tower's falling real quick. This puzzle box mauler nearly killing Bubbles. He didn't realize how much damage he was going to take for that. Oof, that's real bad. Parasite has his own puzzle box, and it is level 2, but that was funny. Puzzle box mauler basically killed Bubbles all by itself. Oh man, that's such a good item. Here goes Polly with the jump and the Hex onto Parasite. No tongue tie, but multi-form from Warbeast actually taking a lot of damage and being forced to get out of there. Astrolabe popped, helped him heal up a little bit. Energizer from Silhouette is there. Nullstone also active on her as well, of course. Warp back on Warbeast, so he'll be just fine. And should be headed back to the fight at some point. Polywog ward's back up in about 30 seconds, so that could be their cue to push, or they could just back off. But there is a mid lane ward, but Kongor in general is unprotected, and Legion side can easily take Kongor with all the minions they've got, and Polywog wards if they really feel it's necessary. But 17-6 hero kill advantage right now for TZP, and they are well in control of this game. About 14k gold and 12k experience up. And we'll see what they can do here. Magnus is going to clean up some creeps in the bottom lane. That'll be nice for him. And get some more items out there, working on a push book of his own. Obviously, the more you have of those items, the better in general. Even having like 3 of them isn't bad. And this will be their first one, so considering that they've got a Kraken on the Legion side, as well as a Polywog Priest, I kind of feel like it's a little bit late. But better late than never. And he'll have that now in a couple of hundred gold. No, actually he bought a teleport and came back, so he needs maybe 600 gold to finish off his thing. Kraken gonna get jumped. Yeah, Face Hug goes through there as well, and Kelphiel gonna catch him out also. We'll see if they can kill anything. Looks like no. Kraken a little bit too tanky. Charge not gonna connect though. And we'll see if they can... Nope, Elgul is going to be the first one to die in a Master of Arms. Obviously, the support pretty low. We'll see if Feshez can get out of this. Yeah, there goes the Eruption in the background, doing a lot of damage. Actually, Rhapsody is going to be in some trouble. Takes a bunch of heals, though, and has Dance Floor down now. She's not going to die. Bubble's not quite enough with the auto attacks. Storm Spirit there, preventing Parasite from doing much of anything. Throws the Leech, but he's going to get slowed by the Ophelia. And let's see what happens. 2-man Lava Surge there. They will not get anybody again, though. Moat's going to die in the Parasite, and Midrax do fall. So they finally get less distracted and take Midrax. This is looking real bad for the Hellborn team. And we'll see if they can finish off the Rhapsody. No, they can't. There goes Ophelia. Ophelia Silhouette. They finally kill the Rhapsody. But I see a CC vote, and the GGs are called. So Hellborn going to be able to... No, sorry, not Hellborn, but Legion in TZP. As apparently they're still fighting, so hey, we'll just watch it. Going to be able to take game 1 here, and that'll put them up 1-0 in this best of 3 series in a losers bracket round 3. And that means we'll be moving on to a game 2 very shortly. But at this point, TZP basically saying, look, you know, we know how to run a push strat, and we know how to take an early lead, and I should put the match stats up, and that's what they did, and that's how they won. So I don't have too much more to say because I should stop talking at some point, but we'll move on to game 2 in just a moment.